Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Chrome Cardboard Podcast. I'm Gareth Smith, and today I'm joined by my usual co hosts, Stephen and Kieran.
Hello.
How are we both doing, lads?
Hello.
Yep, doing very well. Surviving the
good.
heat.
Yes, it is very hot over here. How about yourself? You doing good?
All good, but raring to go to talk about more Cyberpunk. As we mentioned,
Always.
we are all melting here, so do apologise in advance if any of our opinions are a bit rubbish today. We're just blaming the heat for everything.
Your opinion's always rubbish, Gareth, to be fair.
How dare you? Factually accurate, but also how dare you? But today we're obviously going to be talking about the green cards, which haven't done some playtesting. Some of them are pretty good. I don't know what your two lads are, but so far what you've experienced the green cards, what are we thinking about green with what we've seen so far?
I find it quite tricky. It likes to do things like manipulate the board and stuff like that. So I'm a fan of what it's trying to do.
Yeah,
What
I think
about yourself,
it
Kieran?
seems very defensive on first glance. Reactivating units, and I think there's some way you can reactivate eddies, isn't it? Where you can force your opponent to swing into your characters and stuff like that. I think it's very defensive approach, but it seems interesting. So yeah, let's have a look at the cards and see what they say.
So with that, let's start reviewing some cards. Let's start off with our first card. It is going to be a legend. Anyone who has played Cyberpunk 2077 will know this character very well. We have Goro Takamura, hands clean. He's a 5-cost unit. He's a 5-cost legend, with 2 RAM. He is an Arasaka and a Corpo and has Go Solo ability, which for those who haven't seen a video before or hasn't read these before, it basically means that he can be played as a ready unit and attack that turn. And he's also a blocker with 7 with 7 power. What do we think of Yorosty?
Yeah, no, I think he's the only Go Solo legend I believe we've got at the moment for green. So yeah, as Kieran said, a little bit defensive. It's got the blocker keyword, so maybe you don't want to attack with this straight away. Maybe you want to keep it back on defense. But yeah, I mean, 7 power for a 5-cost unit feels pretty solid.
Does, and obviously bear in mind also with that Arasaka tag, as we know from the alpha kits, can be quite powerful. Kieran, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so I quite like this card. I like the base stat line, 5 cost to get 7 power. I think plus 2 on, that is always good. Blocker, a 7 power blocker is pretty solid as well. It's going to take a big beefy character to get around that. I quite like him. I know what Steve was saying there about we maybe not wanting to play him and then attack straight away. Well, I think there might be some cards where we can do that and then restand them so we then can block again next turn, maybe. Is the feeling I get from green.
Maybe.
So maybe we shall see.
Interesting card all around though for me, and I say that it's one that obviously did this get an alter after from Alpha Kit, or is this the same as what it was? I can't remember.
I don't believe so. I don't think much of the card has changed. It might be the cost. I feel like it may have been a 6-cost originally, but I could be wrong. It's still very similar to what it was in the Alpha Kits.
But all around a good card, and let's move on to our next. Very familiar name to this one. We have Goro Takamura again, this time the Vengeful Bodyguard. He is a 0-cost, 2 RAM legend. He has a quick ability. So you exert him, pay 1 eddy, give a friendly unit 4 cost or less blocker this turn. If you control a values pair of gigs, also give it plus 1 power this turn. When a friendly unit uses blocker, you may discard 1. If you do, draw 1. Power 0 on this. Kieran, what are your thoughts on
So I actually quite like this card again. I think both of Goro's cards so far are pretty solid, to be fair. The ability to pay 1 eddy and give one of your units blocker is vital. I think it's a really good mechanic to have. Being able to just pay that 1 and in essence, save a gig, pay one, save a gig kind of thing. Yet you potentially lose the unit on board, but it does buy you time. I think it's a very valuable quick hack, that's what I'm looking for, to have in the game. Also, you can discard one of your own, so you get the extra hand cycle in there, which again, hand cycle, card draw, always great to have. So I'm a big fan of this card. I think it'll go well with the other Goro we've just seen. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm going to give it a bit of testing and see what we can do with it.
So obviously another interesting point for me though, Steve, is obviously the values pair. I think obviously this is an interesting thing of having gigs with basically the same value on. How impactful do you think that extra one power off that could be?
I think it'll catch people out more often than not. As I mentioned, talking about the colour, they like to manipulate things green. There's a lot of ways to. There's a lot of cards that we'll look at later on in the video that like to change the value of the cards, and then obviously if these are value pair, so this is something green likes to do. So I actually think more often than not you may get this ability, and I think a lot of people will just attack thinking, oh, you've got no blockers, and then you've got Goro open, you make something a blocker, give it +1, and they potentially trade, then you get to cycle through the deck. I do think this will be very impactful in the game, and as you mentioned, the value pair, I think actually that will catch people out a lot. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Very much so. The next legend, and to be honest, I think it's the one that I've seen a lot of people get quite excited about. This one for me, you got Pan Palmer Nomad Cavalry. This is it's a Merc, a Nomad, and an Aldecaldo. I can't actually speak today. Aldecaldo. Thank you, Garen. Honestly. But this has the ability of pay 2 eddies, exert, move a gear from this legend to an unequipped friendly unit. If you do, ready that unit. At the end of your turn, if you have 5 or more friendly units or legends are equipped, ready them. Now, this was something obviously that Kieran did bring up about readying your Goro earlier. But what do you think about this leader, Stu?
Yeah, no, this is one I'm quite excited for. I think there's a lot of. It's more that second ability I really want to play around with, because it essentially allows you to attack with everything, and then if you've got 5 or more equipped units, ready everything. It's quite a flashy effect. So, but even just the movement. So essentially, what you want to be doing throughout the game is attaching gear to Panam, and then using her ability to ready stuff. So obviously you're getting multiple attacks in, or potentially ready in a blocker. But yeah, no, this is one I think is definitely one I'll be trying in green. I'm excited for this card.
What about yourself, Kieran? Is this one you've play tested with yet, or is this one you're going to?
I've not touched it at all yet. I've not really played much green at the minute, but it is definitely one I'm going to try out. As Steve says, that second ability is very flashy. So I am interested to see how often you can actually pull that off in the game and how consistent it is. Is the big thing for me, because it sounds brilliant on paper, but as we all know in card games, what sounds good in theory doesn't always transpire when you play it.
It doesn't.
But if you can do it and it's consistent, it's an amazing effect. Like getting 5 units to get ready again, and then depending on what you pair it with, if you can give them blocker, or if they've already got blockers, that you're putting yourself a massive wall and putting yourself in a really good position. So yeah, it's on face value, it's a really good card. I'm excited to see how it goes.
And it's interesting, obviously, when you pair this, particularly with Goro, with the Go Solo ability earlier. I know Steve obviously said you might not want to attack with it. Well, you might want to attack with it and then use this ability. Pay the 2 extra, you get ready him again, then you've got that 7 power blocker ready to go. So all in all, very interesting card. I know it's one that, from other people I've spoken to, it seems to be the card that most people are most excited to try and spend time with. But no, definitely a big fan of this card. Our next legend is Saburo Arasaka, the Stubborn Patriarch. He is obviously no cost 2 ram legend. He's Arasaka and Corpo. Your friendly Arasaka units have +1 power while attacking. Kieran, this one I know again was one in the alpha kit if I remember rightly. This
I'm not sure.
I've seen people playtest this one and it is quite powerful. As we've seen, there's a lot of Arasaka units in this game. What are your thoughts on Saburo?
So he's probably my least favourite out of the 4 green ones at the minute currently. I think he's a good card. I think he's very focused towards travel. With the Arasaka units, if you do play a travel deck and he's in the legend space, then yes, very powerful. So I think he does have a place and he does do a very good job. But he's good, but he's in a specific deck. Like I say, he's probably not going to fit into many other decks outside of running travel. Maybe the odd one or two, but he's good. He's strong. He does what he's there to do. A bit what's the word I'm looking for? A bit pigeonholed into what decks you can play him in, I guess.
But if you do, for example, link it with a card like Minotaur Stay, suddenly that character hitting for 10. What do you think about that as a potential avenue with, in effect, a 7-cost unit hitting for 10 automatically?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. This was one in the alpha kit, and in the Arasaka deck it was very powerful. It just made trades favourable, so every time you were attacking you always felt like you were going to win the fight. So for that reason it's really good. But Kieran is spot on. It kind of makes you build the deck in a certain way, and these certain cards that you may want to put in there that you can't because you don't have that Arasaka tag. But that aside, as you mentioned, Minotaur, that's a perfect example. Here's a 7-cost unit, takes something out as it hits the board. It can attack next turn, take 2 gigs. It swings games, so it's definitely got its place, and it will see play in my opinion.
No, very much agree. Now we're going to move on to units. So that's our legends that we know so far, but let's move on to our first unit. It is a Corpo Security. This unit cannot attack. It is a blocker and a 1 ram unit, which means it can go in every green deck. State blocker characters are quite important in this game. What are your thoughts on the Corpo Security?
Yeah, he does the job. I mean, it'll see play. I'm not a big fan of this unit can't attack, but realistically, how often do you attack with your blockers? Not often. So,
Not often,
I mean, he's just perfect as a 2/2, a 2-powered unit for 2. Yeah, I think you will play this card. There's no reason not to. So, yeah.
And it's an interesting one though for me, Kieran, because these low-powered blockers feel important, but then there's also quite a bit of spot removal. We've seen Royce, for example, in red, and we've got Caliber in yellow that literally just wipes these straight off the board. What are your thoughts, in effect, of a block like this that potentially could be so easy to swipe?
I still like them. I still think these little chunk blockers, as we call them, are vital part in a lot of decks. It looks like they're going to be vital part in the green deck as well, because it looks like a very defensive-minded deck. In terms of people having access to spot removal, I think having the blocker on board, if you're forcing them to play something which isn't the most optimal move, or they're doing something they don't want to do to remove the blocker, then it's done its job anyway. So if they get rid of it and they play a card which wasn't their first choice, or they do something which doesn't impact the game as much because they're focused on getting rid of your 2-cost blocker, then that's fine by me. I think either way it does a job, whether it's defending a gig, defending a unit, or forcing your opponent to deal with it in another way. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like these little chunk blockers to a bit of protection on the board, and I think it does its job. So yeah.
They are an important part of the game because, as I say, you need to be able to. To be fair, we found it particularly the Alpha Kit, and obviously the experience obviously can be a bit different now. But if you didn't find blockers and your opponents did, it wasn't really a game. You're literally watching them steal all your gigs while you couldn't take anything back. So definitely an important part of the game. Next, we have Emergency Atlas. It is a 3-cost, 1 RAM unit. It is Trauma Team. It's a vehicle and Zeta Tech. It is 4 power. And to be fair, a vanilla card. Kieran, what are your thoughts on this unit?
I don't particularly like it. I think as far as vanilla cards go, I want to be looking at vanilla stat lines like 3 eddies to play 5 power. A 3-4 to me is it's just redundant. You can't sell it. Like I just don't really see the point in doing it unless you have to. My mind may change in the future, depending on what cards they bring up, but just as of now, looking at that card, I don't think it's particularly good. It's not something I'm interested in test out much. It doesn't excite me. Yeah.
Fair. What about yourself, Steve? Is this one that you've play tested at all?
No, I've not played with this card. I'm very much in agreement with Kieran. The only thing I would add on to that is the only way that this card becomes quite interesting is if those unit tags in Trauma Team Vehicle and Zeta Tech are actually relevant in the game somehow, because we can see vanilla cards be quite impactful, and as Kieran mentioned, it feels understated. So if we get something like that does something really powerful with a Zeta Tech card, this might actually see some play, but I think it requires the synergy for it to actually be any good. Otherwise it is just quite a poor vanilla. Probably the worst card we've looked at across all of the episodes so far, in my opinion.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Sorry, Kieran.
No, I was just saying that's what I was thinking about. But one card's got to be the worst card, so
yeah, you can't all be bangers.
There'll be someone who builds a deck around the worst card. There always is. So now we're going to talk about a Riding Nomad. This is a 5-cost, 4 RAM unit, which means obviously you need to have 2 green legends, but as we've seen earlier, I don't think that's going to be hard to achieve. It has adrenaline. This unit can attack the turn it's played, and it has 4 power. Now, we just said previously that 4 power wasn't great. Does the adrenaline keyword change that slightly, in your opinion, Kieran?
Sorry. Again, 5 costs for 4 power, even with adrenaline, I'm not overly excited by it. It's not got Arasaka or nothing on it either, so you're not getting any +1s on it. It's okay. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, because you have to have 4 out for this, correct? That's what it says there. So I'm just trying to figure out how you would play this in a green build with 2 green legends, and why you would be choosing this over some of the other cards that you can have access to in that build. I think it's fine. It's one of them cards. I think we've seen one in, was it Red? One of the other shows where it's a rush card that can come in and can do a job. I don't know. What do you think, Steve? I'm not overly excited by this one, but maybe I'm undervaluing it a bit.
No, I think that the Nomad tag has to get some good buffs for it to be impactful. But what I will say is, in the late game, when you sometimes you find these little weird stalemates, and you just find that an extra attacker could be quite useful. But I just don't know how viable that would be. It doesn't feel like it's got the stats to stand up to everything, because some of the cards we've just mentioned in Minotaur, or for example even an Adam Smasher in the late game, it just comes out and takes it out anyway. It just doesn't feel like it's going to impact too much. It might be good more of a sacrifice card, you come in, you just run it into something just to kind of get it off the board, and then move on with the game, and you go into the late game. Maybe it's got its uses there, but 4 power feels very low to even really achieve that.
I think
this to me feels like an overtime stealer. So you've got it with overtime. You need that 7 dice, because if you have that 7 dice, you just won no matter what. Get an extra unit down, runs in, steals a dice, and then just wins you the game. That's how it feels to me. It feels like a card that comes in late, potentially steal a gig, unopposed, and win. you a game?
I feel like it's one of them cards. It could be, if you're running a double green plus whatever, it could be nice to have 1 or 2 in the deck, and then it can just be discarded via an effect. You know, if you don't need to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting. So far, it's safe to say we've not been blown away by the green unit so far, but let's now move on to Wraith Marauder, who's a Ganga Nomad, who's 5 cost with 4 power again. But when this unit steals a gig, ready another friendly unit with power equal to the gig value. So we're back on the 4 power again, Steve. But does the ability save the card?
In my opinion, yes, it does. I think the ability just to... This is where Goro comes into his own. Because you play Goro, you attack, you then attack with this, and then ready Goro, and you've got a blocker, and you've got... He also protects this unit as well, so... I like this card. I am a fan of this card. The only downside is it's got to be equal power. So the gig's got to be equal to the unit's power. So yeah, it can be quite tricky to pull off. But I think if you know there's a gig there and you kind of set up the board ready to have that swingy turn, I think it'll be really impactful.
Well, when you consider, to be fair, there's also obviously other colours where we're looking to try and manipulate the gigs. For example, blue. If this is paired with a blue, then maybe that's where it's a little bit different because you can move the gig values up and down accordingly. How does that impact your thoughts on this card, Kieran?
I think it's a solid card. I do think it'll be very situational. But as Steve alluded to, it can be a game swinger, potentially put you in a position to take a gig and then set up defensively to win on the turn after kind of move. One question to do off, I'm not sure on this. If you ready a gig, can you swing with that gig again? Can you swing with that unit again?
Yeah.
So there's a world where you could bring Goro out, swing, restand them, swing, and then restand them as a blocker.
Yeah.
Because if you can pull something like that off, then that is very impactful. So I think
that would win your games on the spot, I think.
Yeah.
Because then Goro is also ready as a blocker. Like you've just taken 3 gigs in one go, you readied your unit twice.
Yeah.
Like that would just win a game.
If you can pull that off, then great. But I do think it is situational. And again, as I mentioned on a few cards ago, consistency. How consistently you can get the gigs down and manipulate the dice to help you win the game in that situation. But it's a good card. I like the look of it. It's in, what green seems to be doing. So.
Very much, but it's interesting to see though a lot of these units in green seem to be underpowered. But again, I don't know if that's because it's a lot about them. They trying to control the situation, so it's less about power, more about, which is kind of the opposite of red. Red was obviously all about big, hitting hard. This is more about controlling the situation, manipulating the situation. So very interesting. Next, we move on to Sandeu Oda, 7 cost, 2 ram, so can go in every single green deck. There's an Arasaka and Corpo, so it links quite nicely to some of the other cards we spoke about earlier. And as an on-play ability, spend a rival unit for each friendly value pair of gigs. This unit can attack rival units the turn it's played. So almost as it's similar to a ghost solo ability in that sense. So what are your thoughts on this card, Kieran?
I quite like it. I like the fact you can play it down and potentially, rest the unit and then swing straight into it and help clear the board. Again, as you mentioned on the last card, the stat line is, to 7-8. It's not terrible. But I think it's worth the payoff with the ability. And we're seeing that a lot with the green cards. Again, as you mentioned, understated slightly, but the abilities, some of them seem to be worth the risk, some of them don't seem to be worth the stat line. But no, I'm a big fan of this one. It's only 2 ram as well, so you can slot it in a lot of green decks. So yeah, I like it. I'm interested to see how it plays out and how often we can do the on-play ability.
with it being a 2 RAM unit, Steve, does that impact your assessment of this card compared to some of the others which we've seen which are 4 RAM?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're playing green, there's no reason not to play this. Maybe even just as a one-off. If they've just, you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, it can be quite impactful if you don't find blockers. Your opponent's finally found a blocker. You go 7. I'll spend it. I'll take it out, and then also take some gigs off you. I don't see no reason not to play it with it only being 2 RAM. Also being an Arasaka, it's obviously showing the value from Saburo, so that extra attack, he can come in and hit for 9 in one go. I'm a fan. I am a fan.
I think as well, on the sorry Gareth, the last card we looked at, it could come over quite well. You could bring this in and clear up a bit of a board doing the restand stuff if it works in your favour. So
no, very much agree. And obviously, as you mentioned, it wouldn't be hard if you got Saburo in play to get this above the 10, which, to be fair, it's not hard anyway. If you put a Mantis Blade on this, it already is. And is it Saburo's Katana?
Draw a card if it defeats something.
Yeah. So again, that's another way in which, if you got Panam down to be moving all this gear around here, there, and everywhere, very much could be interesting to see what people can pull off with this card for me. I know I haven't really spoken much about the rarities of these cards, but this being a rare as well means obviously it's going to be a bit harder to get compared to some of the other cards we've seen which are commons, but it does feel like this one is a step up on some of the other units we've seen. We're now going to move on to gear. Our first one is a 3-cost 3 RAM, so it does require that 2 green legends. It's cyberware, and at the end of your turn, ready this unit or legend. So you can equip this to a friendly unit or a face-up legend, and it gives them +2 power. Kieran, are we a fan of this gear?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the fabled Sandy from the anime. Have you two watched the anime, have you? No?
I haven't.
No. This is the big thing in the anime, the Sandy. Yeah, as a card, I think this is extremely good. It's very powerful. It's got all the utility you want in it. But, you can sell it. It's +2 onto your unit that you're equipped to, and you can ready the unit or legend at the end of the turn. It's 3 RAM, which is it's fine. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm looking forward to playing this, and it goes well with some of the other green synergy and combinations that we've looked at and been thinking through in our heads. So yeah, big fan of it.
Obviously, we mentioned it pairs very nicely with Saburo. If you are attaching, it makes Goro a 10 powered unit, as with a go solo ability. At the end of your turn, you can ready it. Steve, these were the things that you were talking about earlier. So what are your thoughts in regards to this card?
Yeah, no, I think this makes Goro so much better. I think if you're on the play, for example, not on the play, sorry, you're on the draw, so you're going second, and your first turn is to spend 1, flip a legend. Oh, there's Goro. I'll attach this to Goro straight away. Next turn, you're essentially swinging with a 9-powered unit and then having a 9-powered blocker, just on defense, just every turn. And even though they may have taken a gig in that one short space that they had chance to do so, I think you take control of the game from that point. However, if they do manage to answer him, you have gone down on resources because obviously the go solo ability, but it's something that feels really powerful and sounds really powerful to have a 9-powered unit that can attack and block every turn.
And bear in mind, I say if you put this, say, on Goro, which you can put it on him while he's in the resource zone as well, so you basically got a threat there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine having a potential 11 powered threat just sat there on the board. I don't think anyone's going to be exerting some of that stuff.
It's really good.
Potentially.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like with you guys in Locarno at the minute, but in One Piece there's a few characters which can attack and then reset as blockers, and they're always some of the most powerful characters on the board, and you always swing the game. And that's kind of what I'm expecting from this, to be able to, do that same thing.
Agreed. So next piece we've got is Overwatch, which is Panam's Gift. It is a 4-cost gear with 4 rams, so you do require those 2 green legends. Equip it to a friendly unit or face-up legend, plus 4 power, and it has a quick ability. Pay 1 Eddie, exert, discard 1, defeat a spent rival unit with cost equal or less to that discarded card's cost. Interesting ability, but I'm more bothered about the plus 4 power myself. What do you think, Kieran?
Yes, I like it. Pay 4 plus 4 power, and then you can discard 1, defeat him. I think the actual quick ability is actually really powerful as well. It can help you get round an Adam Smasher. If they have an Adam Smasher on board and you don't have the means to add to it straight away, this is a good backup plan. If you can't rush it or use adrenaline or something to get into it, this works as a good backup plan. You can discard one of your big units to get rid of it. Not the best thing in the world, but as a plan B to save you from another Adam Smasher attack potentially, I think it works. And yeah, pay 4 plus 4 into the character. If you attach it to Goro again, if you attach that and the what was the one we just looked at? Sorry, I can't remember the name. Sandy, that's the one, the Sandy. If you attach both of them, he restands, doesn't he, as a 11, 13, is it 11 or 13? Blocker.
He'd be a 13.
Yeah, so you swing with a 13 and you've got a 13 block out. That's tidies the game up. I think a lot of matches that will. So yeah, I'm a fan of it.
And obviously it's got Panam's Gift as a tagline to it. I assume you're playing this in a Panam deck, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of tells you what to do there, really, doesn't it? put this on put this on Panam and then have Panam gift it to someone, to another unit. That's basically what the card says. But yeah, no, to be fair, Gareth, I don't often say this, but you were completely right. I think the pay 4, get 4 stats is so much better than the ability. But that one time when you pull off that ability at the right time will just win you a game, because there's certain units you can, as Kieran mentioned, for example, an Adam Smasher, you may just get rid of something that's a bit of a pesky unit, and then you just take control of the game from that point on. So that ability, again, it's one that needs to be watched out for. What I find really interesting is that if you were to use that ability or use that the Panam gift, so you can attack with this, whatever the unit is, potentially steal a gig or get rid of a blocker, and then you get to ready that unit at the end of the turn, as you mentioned. Then you've got this quick ability sitting there ready to go on their turn, and that's what will like really play mind games, and that's what I'm excited about for Cyberpunk, is that little bit of interaction, that little bit of back and forth of, am I bluffing, have I even got something that I can get rid of your unit? But you've got to make them do it. But it's that mind game of, is it worth it?
And the other thing from my point of view as well is, to be fair, even if you just get, sometimes it might be worth just getting rid of the pesky blocker, so you're swinging and taking 2-3 gigs. I think at that point absolutely. You go, I'm just going to steal 2 gigs and you can't stop me because I've threw away the 2-cost character in my hand. Whoops. Oh well.
Yeah. At that point, you're just in complete control of the game anyway. But it's just, it's a powerful ability, and you want to watch out for it if you're playing against green, especially like if you're playing against double green. But definitely a fan. So our next is our first program is a 1-cost 1 ram program called Peace Offering. It's a brain dance, so actually it will work with V in Street Kid, isn't it, from Red? You may set a gig value. You may set a gig's value to the value of another gig. Then, if you control a value pair, draw 1. What do we think about this one, Kieran?
I really like it. I think it's a really strong card. I think it synergizes very well with some of the green cards we've seen. And what I like about it in particular is you can just set the value of, it can be set to anything you have. So if you have a 1 and then you've got a bunch of 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever, for example, you can just straight away set that to 1, combo it with one of the other cards that we seen earlier, or one of the blue cards, and then you can get the card draw off of this card, and then you can get the potential card draw from the other cards as well, and any of the other abilities that they can pull off. I can't remember them all off my head, but I think there's a few of them. And it's sellable, so worst case you sell it for areas. So I'm a big fan of it. 1 cost, you get in my opinion, get quite a lot of value out of it, if you can get the combo going. So.
Yeah, because there was a card, I'm trying to remember which one it was, which basically got you... Was it Lizzie Wizzy?
Maybe there was
that allowed you to play a 3 cost with your trash for free and bottom deck it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts in regards to this card, Steve? And is this a kind of card that you'd want to be using?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is one of the best. This is the tricky stuff I was talking about with green. It likes to manipulate things. One thing that I actually really like this with red, because red likes to say if you've got more street cred than your opponent. Because what this card actually says is you may set a gig's value. It doesn't say your gig. It doesn't say your opponent's gig. You can choose any gig on the board. So if you need to lower one of their high gigs down to get their street cred down, so you can potentially play a Minotaur and get more value that way. I like the versatility of it. Again, sellable. These are the cards that are gonna really swing games in my opinion. So, absolutely. And then even if you just set it to, if you're playing in blue and you want two low valued gigs and maybe 1, then you get to draw the card off it. So yeah, I mean, I really like what this card's doing. I really like it.
No, agreed. And wasn't it? I'm trying to think. Isn't there some as well where if you've got a gig at 1, you get to draw a card as well?
Yeah,
I think Jackie, is it?
Jackie Wells, Jackie Wells.
Yeah.
If you got one where a gig was at 1, you could draw all that kind of stuff, a min gig. So yeah, very interesting card. I think that's one thing I will say about this game. It seems there's quite a lot of opportunities for some skill expression, and this feels
Absolutely.
like the kind of card that the skill expression is there for.
Definitely. We do like some skill expression, don't we, Steve?
We do indeed. We do. That's what we're all about. Expressing
It
skill.
Now, this is the next card is one I know very well because I had Steve use it against me several times the other day. It's a 2 cost, 1 ramp program. Corporate surveillance. Spend rival units with 4 cost or less. I'm bringing it back to you, Steve, here because I say you used it against me far too often. What are your thoughts on this one?
Card's fantastic. It really is. Pay 2, just make them spend something so you can either take it out or just bypass a blocker. I mean, that's the bit I don't like about the corporate security we've seen earlier, because that can't attack. If that just gets spent, it's just a useless body. It literally doesn't do anything. I'm a big fan of this. Big fan of this card.
Yeah. What about yourself, Kieran? Have you done any play testing with this one? Because I can tell you when it's done against you, it's irritating.
I have not. I've not really touched green much, to be honest, at the minute. But from what you've just said and what I can see on the card, it's a very good card. I agree with Steve. It's so much value in it. 2 cost, you can spend it as well. It's got the utility there. It's only 1 ramp, so it slots into any green deck. I don't really see a reason not to be running this, like a 3-off in green decks. It's just great. It gets you around a lot of them smaller blockers and even some of the medium-sized blockers, which can be a little more annoying to navigate. Or, even if there's not a blocker and they have a unit on board, you can ready that and swing into it to preemptively clear the board for next turn kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm looking forward to trying this one out.
It definitely will see play, this one, particularly bearing in mind, I think, as me and Steve have done quite a bit of play testing recently, that from what we've noticed, that you need to have a lot of gear and programs in your deck. If you've got some big stuff in your deck, you almost need 50% of your deck to be gear and
I'm finding
programs.
the optimal numbers 60% of the deck. Obviously, it can vary. We don't have just a minimum deck value. We have like, what is it, 40 to 50. So obviously, if you're in that range, obviously, like you just 60% feels like the sweet spot when it comes to deck building.
And so obviously having even the fact that it's sellable obviously does add to that, because at the end of the day we need stuff that we can sell, because if we don't sell it, then we can't do nothing with it.
Yes, sir.
So interesting. Our final card for today is a program. It is a 2-round program to cost. Take control. It is a quick hack. The quick ability: a rival's unit steals 1 or fewer gigs this turn. If the unit is an AI, drone, or vehicle, draw 1 card. Kieran, going to you for this one. Quick hacks are an interesting part of the game. As someone like yourself who's played Magic the Gathering as well, you know how important things like instants can be, which is what quick hacks are in this case. What are your thoughts on this?
Definitely, I definitely agree with that. Instants, quick hacks, vital part of the game. Every TCG should have, shouldn't they?
Absolutely.
So anyway, back to what we were saying. I am a big fan of this card. I think it's a very, very good and useful defensive tool. I'm just reading the back end of the text. If it's an AI, drone, or vehicle, you draw 1, which is interesting to me. So I guess we're going to see a lot of potential archetypes for them kind of things, because I don't think we've seen too many, have we? AI and drones so far.
Some vehicles. Have we seen a drone?
We seen 1 vehicle, which was Emergency Atlas, and this card makes that card even worse. I didn't think it was possible.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it makes this even worse, because you then get to draw the card because you've attacked with your vanilla.
Yeah.
Like,
we've definitely found the worst card in the set.
Honestly.
We've also had the modded Kasangi from last week again, which was a card I think we didn't rate either.
Yeah,
that was red, wasn't it? I think.
Which I think that was the other one.
Yeah, go on.
We have seen a drone. We've got the second-hand Bombus is a drone, but that's a blocker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is that the 2-cost blocker? Is it?
Yeah, it's a 2-cost blocker. But other than that, I don't think we have seen any of the AIs. Other than that, I think at the moment. So I think that's it at the moment. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I still think it's a good card anyway. I was just interested to read that back in the text.
Minotaur's a drone as well, by the way.
Okay. So there's a few of them. So I'm assuming we're going to see more revealed, or potentially in future sets we're going to see more of them archetypes. But yeah, this card I like. It's sellable. It's 2-cost. Preventing someone from stealing a gig or 2 gigs down to 1 gig is vital. I mean, you can't get much better than that from a defensive point of view. It saves you a game potentially, and then lets you win on the clapback if you can. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. I think if I was playing green, I don't see a reason not to run this as a free off in the decks. So yeah, what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I definitely going to be any green deck I build, this will be going in there. If you've got the ability to play behind curve and just hold 2 resources open, you know, could potentially be a cantrip as well as slowing down your opponents. I think it's very solid. Good card.
A very interesting card, but that is all the green we've seen for now. Obviously, spoiler season is amongst us as well at the moment, so there will be card reveals week on week, and we will be doing spot reactions to any that we see that aren't currently in our videos. But all in all, how are we feeling about green, having spent a bit of time with all those cards there, Steve?
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it pairs nicely with red. That's probably the colour pairing I'd go for, based off what we've seen so far. But obviously we haven't got all the cards yet, so it's hard to say what will be good in the long run. But yeah, no, I like the colour overall. I think, as I say, very tricky. Likes to do manipulative stuff on the board, which I'm always a fan of.
I want yourself, Kieran.
Yeah, I agree mainly with what Steve just had to say then. It is a very tricksy colour. And it's one of them. If you're playing into green decks, it makes you sometimes overthink. And even if they don't have the cards to play and they leave the eddies open, you've got to take that into your calculation if you're going for game, etc. 90% of the time it could be bluffing, but you don't know that, do you? I think it messes with your opponent's lot, which I like. I generally don't play a lot of them style decks, historically, but they're always annoying when I play against them. I hate them. So I see this being the exact same. It's going to be a nightmare to play into. I do think you might need, it's not one of them decks it's very beginner friendly maybe. You'll have to have a bit of practice and get used to it and work out, what's efficient to play and when and all the combos in it. But yeah, it looks good. I'm looking forward to testing out and hopefully get some wins against you two with it and see how it goes.
And that's the thing, because bearing in mind, right, so you've all played Magic the Gathering and you've all seen that player who just sits there with just some resource open ready for you, and you're like, even if they don't have it, they just sit there and you're like, do I bother? And that's where some of these quick hacks can come into mind.
I feel attacked.
And they always sit there, and then instead of you getting to do the thing you want to do, you end up with a 1/1 bird or something stupid, like irritating.
Your favourite card ever.
Yeah. But anyway, that is all of the green cards. Thank you everyone for watching at home. We'll be back into with another episode where we'll be talking about the final colour, yellow. Obviously, make sure you check out Cyberpunk TCG website, and obviously make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, and all the usual things. Be back again soon with another episode.
Yep.